It's very special for me to share with you today a myth, a legend called Science and Experience. It's the introduction in a book by Mia Khalif called The Secret Life of Babies: How Our Pre-Birth and Birth Experiences Shape Our World. Her book is a bold affirmation that we are sentient before conception and in the womb. Hundreds of years ago, two lovers, destined for unity, were separated. The change in the world was seen in humans too. The population naturally gravitated to one of two groups, made up of those who trusted evidence and science or those who trusted feelings and instincts. Great knowledge emerges in the space between these two. The gifts which we offer people represent the embodiment of the knowledge created by both. The great marriage between science and experience rekindles the sense of remembering. The myth, the legend, science and experience. Two great lovers, science and experience, lived harmoniously together. All they have touched has become whole, as their union provided trust for those who yearn to find it. Their wholeness, being complete, contained within it all knowledge. One year, while sailing between shores to those in need, science and experience encountered dark skies. As the grey skies turned to rain and the seas lashed angrily, they gathered preciously closer. But the strength of the lovers' unity could not hold their ship, and each was flung ruthlessly into the waters. Science was cast to one shore and experience to another, while the safely love-locked knowledge between them scattered out on the sea bottom. Having never been separated, science and experience felt a lack, but having never known separation, they did not recognize their division and continued their work without the other. As best they could, each brought trust to those who yearned to find it. Each learned to get along without the other, and as time passed, they adjusted to being apart until one day they forgot how it used to be. From that day on, science on his shore collected evidence. He found that evidence helped others believe that it was safe to trust. He worked tirelessly and meticulously and was well loved for his contribution. Yet despite his thorough methods, science could not find evidence to trust the thoughts he had been having, which suggested there was something more. Experience also worked steadfastly on her shore. She collected feelings. She inspired trust by reteaching those who needed to feel. Experience was well loved for her teachings, but despite all her subtle skills, Experience was troubled that her teachings could not reach everyone. She longed for help, knowing there was more. The disbanded lovers, unknowing their separation, missed the knowledge born only from their union. One day, while walking by the ocean, Experience saw her reflection in a retreating wave. While she could see her image in the rushing froth, a curious sight caught her attention. Another face emerged behind her reflection. Perplexed, she asked aloud, "Has so much time gone by that I do not recognize myself?" Experience paused and nodded silently as she contemplated the two reflections. "Yes," she thought, "I have forgotten something. Moons and oceans ago, I knew no separation. Something was whole that I do not have now." She continued to stare into the wave as it receded. The faces within it. Experience stared a while longer, struggling to remember what lingered in the tide. With that, Experience cast a deep intention out into the sea and whispered a wish. "Reveal to me what I have forgotten." Science, compelled by his ever-growing, unexplainable thoughts of more, strode alone down to his shore. The words of his contemplation were interrupted by a deep, quiet voice, one not unlike his own, rising gently in his ears. It seemed to come from somewhere beyond the wind and from deep under the sea. Science paused and looked around. He could see no other on the shore to explain the sound, so he asked aloud, "Your sound is not my voice, and it is not my language, but I understand every word. Who are you?" He quieted his mind so as to not miss the precious utterings, and he thought he made out a whisper, "We were once together." And then, just like that, the The storm that had torn the lovers apart years earlier, clouds gathered and the sea swayed. From Experience's shore, the two faces, reflecting deep beneath the wave, drove toward the center of the sea. Experience, despite the growing tempest, waded in to follow them. And on Science's shore, the whispering words swirling in the air spiraled out as well. Science followed the pleasing sounds, letting himself be pulled out into the rising swells. The ocean churned the long-lost lovers with determination, pulling them forwards and closer. Neither fought, neither feared. The waters glided around them, tracing their shapes under the darkening skies. As the waters stilled, a warm light shone through from the bottom of the sea, and up, as if it had never known its loss, rose the long-buried, love-locked knowledge. Experience, calm but exhausted, opened her eyes. Science, with his ears still set on the voice, swam closer. Experience looked up from the globe beneath her feet. Before her eyes could adjust, she could sense him. Yes, she said aloud, reaching out into the water. We were once together. Science, now able to hear the voice, knew what the feeling of more had been and nodded, reaching to touch her in the shifting light and dark. Yes, we were once together. As the threading waters knit slowly around the lovers, the long-lost knowledge.